Hellions, but if they set themselves up to not lose standard laning phase, you might find a bit of resilience from this Hellions roster. They need to get there though through this drafting phase, and it does start with really important red side bans.
Damn right it does. That's a Vladimir taken off the board. I like it a lot. As Dials actually remove Rise on the blue side. Interesting here. Nidalee, of course, was their beginning ban against Impaired. A phenomenal Nidalee player.
He's a very strong Nid. You just never give it to Impaired, honestly. He defaults to that Echo, though, quite often.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Rek'Sai picked up for them here, though. Remember that Vladimir, Maokai, and Rek'Sai in a single team are three of the most unkillable champions in their respective roles that we should never see again.
Well, definitely not going to see part of it. We'll see what Hellions decide to remove as their final ban. Of course, Trundle's still available. Things like that. Kindred, of course, is the other option here. And is going to be banned away. So Swain being looked at and is instantly locked in. As Chippy says, yes, more killing people on the top side of the map.
Take one, I get the other. The same thing with Nidalee and Kindred as jungle options is basically Swain and Vladimir right now for the middle lane. Azir still having a big point of preference, however.
Yeah.
Always needing to be banned from Fantix, and just in general, as is the Rise.
Do we see something like a Victor being the last one that's really remaining in that strong category?
Yeah, sort of. Victor's definitely still strong. There's a bit more diversity in the middle lane, however. We look at AD carries as an option right now. Hellions should probably just go for the Ezreal again, given the Lucian is unavailable. Set Frey up to at least not lose that lane. Honestly, they shouldn't have lost the lane that they did. It's a Karma Ezreal after all. It's just on them to fix it next time mechanically. And the top side of the map was actually the problem with the draft.
So something like Ezreal Rek'Sai could be an option here for the Hellions. 6 seconds to go. Impaired looking at the Rek'Sai for the moment. And Echo being looked at here. So Ryu looking to take another nimble fighter towards the top side of the Rift. As Sybil and Fantix now to make their picks.
Maybe with the assumption that Chippies is defaulting to something like the Trundle, given that it's not banned.
Yeah.
Would be why he's gone for the Echo to maybe even match the fighting. But even then, it's better into Maokai than it is Trundle, you would have to imagine.
I like the idea of picking Ezreal Trundle here. Just because they could potentially flex it. Regret's played a lot of Trundle in the past as well.
Ray showed that he can play that Sivir also. They don't necessarily need the Sivir or the Karma as a high priority. They can look towards the lanes they're at least hovering at the moment, but the Ezreal in terms of AD carry tier lists is above and beyond in that top 2 with the Lucian.
Yeah. Well, currently hovering it at the moment. We'll see whether Fantix moves around at all on this Trundle. Can be going towards the top side of the map as it's Ezreal and Graves being looked at for the moment. So Sybil wanted to get some more damage on the board.
Yeah, so they lock those ones in. Graves, very niche pick for junglers at the moment. Not something we're seeing a substantial amount of, but when everything else has been removed, you kind of have to default back to that Graves or Gragas. Maybe even on the occasional Elise. 3 of the lesser seen. Frey to respond, I would imagine Caitlyn is his go-to, opposed to that of the Sivir that we saw from Raze in game number 1. Hellions could just go the Karma with that and be happy campers. Sivir Karma, of course, a very strong bot lane combo.
Yeah, I believe Frey, he has played the Sivir a couple of times so far. Didn't find any success, though, against Abyss and Legacy with those ones. But I like this. Move super fast bottom lane.
Yeah. It enables your team. I just call it the facilitating bottom lane. Even just having one of the two still does that.
Yep.
But having them both together just gives you much more utility in the same way.
Now, I like the pick away of the Karma here. Make sure you're not having a super fast Swain really getting his flock amongst it. As it is going to be locked away. So, Frey going to head towards the Caitlyn this time for the second time so far in the OPL for Split 2. Oh, Fantix, you cheeky devil, you.
What's regret? Yet to know who he's playing against in that middle lane, so you wouldn't imagine a Cassidy. Definitely be something. He actually probably just going to be the Swain. Why not be Maokai again is the question.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Or that Trundle that was hovered. Haven't made their mind up.
Yeah, Regret just cycling at the moment. I do like the Trundle pick, though.
Yeah, Trundle's still good. It's going to be that split pushing threat. Works with Fantix on his champion as well if it were to be the Swain. 1-3-1 would then be quite viable, depending on what Regret goes for in his support option.
Oh my goodness.
That makes sense.
Yeah, scary bottom lane of the Ezreal and the Bard has been locked away here for the Dials, as well as that Trundle for the top lane for Chippies. And the last pick here for the Hellions, Bomb probably going to make his choice here as the Twisted Fate going to be locked in as the last pick. So Hellions looking to try and get around the map, really change things up, and I like it. I mean, we heard from the desk, Hellions got to change their style. This could be a good way of really making things happen in the early game.
It's a pretty cool style change considering there's a Rek'Sai with it. They can both gank top lane, both just use their ultimates perhaps to get back towards the other side of the map. They're quite mobile with cross-map movements. Teleports and those two ultimates that we just mentioned. On the side of Direwolves, though, it is still about winning those lanes. We have a Graves that can jungle quite well and gank quite well with his range and red buff that he will have. Chippies is a split-pushing top laner in Trundle that's pretty good at fighting you. That's a Swain, that's enough said. Bottom lane has that Bard and Ezreal, so a lot of poke, a lot of all-in threat if it comes down to it. They do still want to bully you out early, force you to even look at roaming as your only option. And Twisted Fate is good at it, but if he's behind, it does a little bit less.
Do we think sort of the answering adaptations here from Hellions might be better off suited? Because, of course, Direwolves lane incredibly well in game number 1, but Karma and Caitlyn, I mean, that's a powerful lane. Will it be enough against the Bard Ezreal?
I think it'll help a lot more for their laning phase at the very least. Yeah, I'm just a big fan of the Twisted Fate adaptation that they've brought through. It may not do too well in laning phase, but it'll win the rest of the lanes for his team.
Well, we'll see whether it can. If you think that the Dials will be able to close this one out swiftly with a 2-0, use that hashtag DWin, hop over onto Twitter. Or if you think that the Hellions Twisted Fate pick will be able to get them through, use that hashtag HLNwin. And you're right, I mean, any adaptation honestly is good at this stage because they played straight up and they honestly lost. And they lost incredibly quickly as well. Something needs to be changed, and it has. And we'll see whether Bomb is going to be able to get it done because I think the Twisted Fate is where we're looking.
Yeah, they needed to pull an ace up from their sleeve, essentially. They were out of options, and TF seems to be the way to go.
That is stunning, but we're on to the Rift. Game number 2 here between the Direwolves and the Hellions. You're on fire today, Rusty.
Oh, I'm not. How did it hurt?
Oh, God. So we are going to have a look at the Keystone Mastery. So Deathfire Touch here for Fantix, pretty standard stuff. Only 2 fervors of battle. Really unfortunate.
Yeah, missing the Fizz and the Echo. No more fervors everywhere. Quite strong champions Hellions had last time around, but we mentioned how their drafts were similar. They were just outmatched in every single direction. This time around, it's conflicting styles. And Direwolves, they have that 1-3-1. They have a pretty strong 3-man. They have a lot of damage as well as frontline when it comes to the late game team fights. Side of Hellions, they want to get ahead early, utilize their map movements. They can still keep up with split pushes. So it looks like they're equipped to deal with what Direwolves have. They've also got just a lot more pick in general with that Twisted Fate.
Yeah, we'll see whether we look towards the top side of the map, or bottom side of the map, if this lane swap is going to occur, to see whether Ryu is going to have a better time in the lane this time around. Completely different matchup. One that Chippies probably will be okay with as the game progresses, but as far as early levels, are we thinking Echo is going to be fine?
Yeah, I think Echo will be okay. Generally speaking, level 3 you'd look at and be like, oh, Echo's a bit stronger now, but Trundle's pretty much just strong all the time. Direwolves, they're looking to stop any early camps from being taken. Regret could have got cheese there given the vision that was in place, but we are seeing the standard Australian lanes.
Yeah, just a bit upside down at the moment. So it looks like Direwolves actually hunting for the standard lanes there as well. Regret going to hop into the jungle, get some early deep vision down just to try and keep tabs on Impaired, see whether he ruins the day.
An incredibly safe play out of Hellions as well, knowing that Regret was nearby. Not trusting him for a flank, it seems like. This is going to be a very poke-heavy lane from both respective teams. Karma and Caitlyn, they want to push and poke. Direwolves pretty much just want to kill you.
Yeah, poke and fight. And we'll see whether Regret is going to get super antsy early. Of course, the adaptation of the Ignite being picked up by Luna on this Karma as well. It's good to see. Another Cosmic Binding is going to go wide.
Sybil's in here very early with a red buff. That's a level 2 gank.
Level 2 gank comes in. Quick Draw is going to close the distance as there's the slowdown. End of the line comes down as the flash goes forward, but Sybil taking a lot of damage here from the turret. And Ryu is going to make it out safely. Flash has been burnt. Sybil is going to go home.
Bit Orkies, really.
Yeah.
The Graves can't hit anything when there's minions or turrets in the way. So Ryu played it calmly enough to get himself out safely. It does give Impaired plenty of time to work on the opposite side of the map. We have to see how Sybil now reacts to knowing. You would have to assume that he's already done this.
Yeah.
He was there quick.
Straight away, as soon as he saw him on the bottom side of the map. Fantastic adaptive play here from Impaired in his jungle pathing.
Usually my rule of thumb is if you were going to level 2 gank somebody, if I were Graves in particular, I would have E'd over the wolf wall and smoked it to see if there was anybody cheesing me. Yeah. Confident man, Sybil.
Oh, Chippy's continuing to go aggressive here as the pillar goes down but doesn't catch Ryu. Troll is just having a meal this time. Ryu didn't actually teleport back to lane there as well. He's actually going to head back now.
I'm not sure he actually recalled at all. He just used his potions and then got pulled out a second time. Nice bit of work from Ryu to at least keep himself in it. And probably push Chippy's out this time, and they'll match each other's teleports. They're synchronized almost. Yeah,
it's real cute. Ryu, he's going to hit that level 4 first though, as our Chippy's hoping that he'll get back in time to pick up a bunch of this farm, but the minion wave arrives in the nick of time.
To a melee minion, he'll be fine.
It's a couple of longswords there that he has picked up at the same time, so we'll see whether he's going to have a better time. As Fantix gets gold carded, there's the slow bird as he flashes out of the way, but impaired right under the turret, and first blood goes to Luna. Hellions with 3 people in the mid lane at 4 minutes.
That's a pretty dead swing to say the least, and yes, Twisted Fate does have a lot of pressure. Fantix was hovering the cleanse when we came into Champion Select, changed his mind for that teleport. It's safe to say he's regretting that already. 4 minutes in with a gank from 3 people.
Yeah, does make it back to lane faster. I mean, that's good news. Eats himself a tunnel there as well. So Fantix just looking for that level 6 at the moment, but Bomb off to a good start. And it's actually 1,000 gold the lead here for the Hellions. Much better early game so far.
Yeah, a bit of extra jungle clear from Impaired. Laning phase not going horribly wrong in this middle lane, and he carries pretty much even. And that first blood to boot.
Really going to get chomped, but Impaired once again in great position. The flash still available from Chippy's, heads over the other side. Really nice play with the pillar as Impaired still wants to find him. And Chippy's, you are in a whole host of trouble. He's going to get over the side. Wants to, I guess, just waste some time. We'll see whether he can get an execute, but I highly doubt it, as there's the Prey Seeker, and Impaired is going to be able to pick that one up. Ryu is going to escape, and yeah, really nice play from the Hellions.
Ryu definitely should not have escaped there. Sybil chased instead of helping his top laner. And just like that, they got themselves a second kill for no response. This Graves definitely not doing its part. Get the team going. Bomb even rotating over there, doesn't find anything, so as far as Chippy's dying is concerned, it was timed pretty well. Makes the best out of a bad situation, but that's exactly what that was. A bad situation.
Precisely. The level lead here, Ravenous Block is now available, so he can shove this wave relentlessly. Bit of mana there available. Doesn't quite have his Catalyst built up, decided to adapt and head towards something like a Dark Seal instead.
Once he gets the Catalyst, he'll be much better off for it.
Yeah, not going to happen here towards the top side of the map. You can see Hellions doing a good job clearing out the minions. Prey ahead by a little bit of farm, but that's a big minion wave now for Raze to pick up. Things have been relatively quiet as far as that bottom lane now on the top side of the map is concerned.
Yeah, most of the action is on the opposite side. You know, Ryu and Chippy's fighting and the jungle attention always there. Slight level edge. Once Chippy's hit 6, he'll probably just continue fighting again. You know, just how it goes.
He does have his Tiamat already completed. Big creep advantage there as well as Sybil is going to find Impaired. End of the line comes down, but not quite enough damage. Smoke screen's in there. Fantix was looking for a way around, but isn't going to get amongst it just yet. Impaired makes his way back through.
I think Impaired didn't realize that he could have fought. Fantix was close, so could have been a deterrent. But really, he could have fought.
Yeah. He's got Barmy Cinder. This guy's pretty big.
I guess. I don't have another answer for him.
Yeah, no, that's great. But regret, not going to get snared up here as Raze just goes into melee range. True Shot Barrage, point blank as Prey in a whole host of trouble. Flash from Raze, and he picks it up, hits every spell as Luna, no mana left. And I would have thought that Raze had gone under that turret just then.
Yeah, Raze hitting that level 6 mark is actually a big difference between bottom lanes. Timed pretty much to perfection. Get themselves that kill. Skill shots connecting, and the flash timing even with the auto attack reset. Enough to completely catch them off as bombs bottom.
Yeah, there's the Destiny as Chippy's in so much trouble. Does have the ultimate running onto Ryu here as he puts down the pillar, but that is a lot of people. And Hellions with 3 strong take down the Troll.
Yeah, Fantix no teleport either, so they're not going to be able to match anything. No support available for this Trundle sitting in his side lane. Somehow still like 7 CS above his opponent, but feeding constantly. Yeah. Very unusual start to this game for the Direwolves. I think they'll still be perfectly fine, to be fair. The question is how much impact can they really start getting? If Bomb gets another kill, perhaps on the Chippies, gets a second one on the board for himself, Twisted Fate could be a real big impact as the game progresses.
Fnatic, however, did manage to push out that minion wave. Bomb lost about a wave worth of creep, but he's still within touching distance. Decided to go back, grabbed himself a Catalyst. Lucidity boots there as well, wants to be running around the Rift as much as possible. CBLOL and Regret, they got their eyes on Impaired here. The red buff is going to be taken there by CBLOL as Impaired. Not going to die for it. There's going to be the Magical Journey. Gets Regret and CBLOL to safety.
Yeah, they get out perfectly fine with a buff in their back pocket.
Cute stuff.
Very cute. A little bit mistimed, unfortunately. Regret wasn't there to look for a stun, so there's no follow-up damage to it. But they come back to laning phase and everything's looking good for the Ezreal in particular, given that he's gone pretty much full mana immune.
Yeah, I think that was his first back. That's some scary stuff. As
spicy meatball.
Yeah, I really like that Coco placement. Like, yeah, no, can't destroy our Coco.
Everyone has different preferences on where they place the Bard Shrines. I always place one in the bush when you don't have a ward as well. It gives you vision momentarily, and you'll also watch it die if they try and walk in and they don't have vision themselves.
Well, Fnatic calls his flock back. And Impaired not going to be able to find too much. It's going to be harder and harder to kill this Swain. Now has his flash available as well. I believe he didn't actually use it when he got ganked the first time, just constantly CC'd.
I think he flashed. I got flashed after by Impaired.
Oh, Bomb actually taking a lot of damage here as the Torment's tearing him apart. Chippies is going to make his way in though as Bomb flashes away, but he flashes into a Trundle, which is bad news. The Subjugate's actually running.
He is quick.
Yeah, and Bomb is going to be able to make it out as there's the tunnel, and Impaired also going to escape. CBLOL and Regret are down here as there's the Tempered Fate. They've locked away the Rek'Sai, but it's not exactly the target that they want, and the Hellions are going to be safe. They've been dodging so much of this aggression.
Yeah, they get out completely scot-free almost for this. Bomb with his flashing ghost was never looking like dying. No boots really to follow that one up from the side of Direwolves. They're going to be fast enough to catch him. Pretty good build path, honestly, from Bomb. He's very close to that Rod of Ages. It's looking strong.
Yeah.
Hellions. This is game number 1 to 2 has been a very polarizing difference between their own individual strength. Direwolves are still bridging themselves to a middle stage of the game. They will still be reasonably strong. It's mostly going to be the Raze show, however.
Yeah, Ray's doing fantastically well here. 16 CS in the lead, as well as that mana immune built up. Just feeling pretty happy as Bomb, Frey, and Luna are all going to do their very best to ruin his day. The back going to come in from Fnatic. We'll see whether he can finish his Rod of Ages here at 11.5 minutes into the game. I hazard a guess as to yes.
You would imagine so.
Oh, just decides not to back though. This is of course Fnatic's. Bomb has that gold card popped. Impaired's here as well as the teleport immediately goes down. Ravenous block. Going to be slowing Impaired. The Never Move is going to be dodged for the moment, but look at the damage. The Torment is exactly that.
They can't follow it up with anything further, remembering Fnatic's out of mana. The Never Move didn't connect and the pillar just wasn't good enough. Impaired, very lucky to be alive, or even have as much health as he did, but the protection that came out of the Direwolves, the second they see 2 people mid, they just teleport in to save him. Valiant, the problem is, that won't happen again, because they've got cooldowns. Unless Chippies is the one being ganked and Fnatic is helping him, you can see them run into some problems.
Well, at the moment, Chippy is looking pretty happy, has himself the Vam Scepter along with the Tiamat. Still about a 10 CS lead as Rio is going to pick up all of this farm and equalize. Turret falls down, so Direwolves claiming themselves back some ground.
And that was a 2v2 turret taken against the Caitlyn Karma. Oh, needs to be noted. That should very rarely ever be seen.
Ed continues his aggressive ganking. The knockup is going to come down as Chippies tries to get some health back, has a bit of a dance as there's the Tempered Fate. Bomb in trouble. Cosmic Binding doesn't land as the gold card's going to be onto CBLOL. Underneath the turret there as well as the Magical Journey comes down, and Regret and CBLOL will make their way out, but Bomb 1 versus 3, still good. Dash over the wall. Destiny has been popped. There's the snare. CBLOL in trouble. And Bomb's going to pick up the kill. Regret now in trouble as there's the ultimate. Frey's going to pick up a kill. And Fantix He's also going to be followed up on, and Ryu picks that one up.
They just completely misused their spell timings here on the side of Direwolves, and they're gifting Hellions ways to get further and further into the lead in game number 2. They're going to be able to break potentially this turret, maybe not yet, but still getting further ahead.
This is ridiculous. Raze trying to be that solo underneath the turret, try to get the work done. Knockup comes in as impaired. It's going to be a nuisance, and that's going to secure this outer turret in the mid lane, the most coveted outer turret in the game.
Amazingly, Hellions don't draft themselves into a losing situation, and the game feels a lot more even.
Yeah.
Attention being placed on a Chippies means that he hasn't been able to hard carry. Sybil's really struggled to get anything done based off all of those jungle bans. I'm not sure why he didn't default to something like the Elise instead of the Graves. Perhaps that physical damage was far too valuable for him. And end result is a decent sized lead now for our Hellions roster.
Yeah, it's about 2,500 gold. Fantix continuing to farm well, but nowhere near his sort of 10 CS per minute mark that he does like to have. Red started off the Dragon. Cloud Drake
contested.
Yeah. Sybil going to make his way in there as well. You can see Destiny not quite off cooldown just yet. No teleport for Bomb. He's impaired, looking to try and get some sort of smite steal. It is going to be a 50-50 as the teleport comes in, but Sybil is able to lock down the Dragon.
No.
Raze gets over with a flash. As yeah, that magical journey was not as magical as they were looking for.
That was the least magical journey that I have seen. It baited Raze into having to use his flash.
But they get the Dragon. And they get it for nothing. Only a Cloud Drake though, so not exactly the most powerful, but they will be able to get around the map a little bit faster.
Yeah, and we're going to see 2 clouds in a row from the looks of it. And it will be quite handy. And most importantly, not giving it to a Twisted Fate team comp as well.
Yeah, good point.
One of the few times you'd say, oh, Cloud Drake, probably suck. Twisted Fate had that.
Well, you're right. Answer does come in. I'll at least take that one away, but it's sort of the only good news story here at this stage of the game. Hellions take themselves another turret, and with a Caitlyn, it's exactly what she wants to do.
Chippies have started, yeah.
Yeah, continuing to push things down. Ravenous Hydra completed.
That's good. It means we're starting to hit a point in the game where Direwolves might actually feel comfortable putting one of their biggest strategies into effect. And that is not necessarily the 1-3-1, but by having Chippies as a split push option at all. It's just such a big risk. To think about it, yes, they want him to split push, yes, they want him to take turrets, but Bomb's always going to be able to just get there immediately and punish them for it. See if we can actually make that work. Once again, Direwolves making a good move on the map.
Yeah, going to grab themselves a Rift Herald. Sybil tanking that one up as best he can. Now going to be able to take this. Chippies, his split push mission, well and truly available.
I've actually put Twisted Fate onto the bottom side of the map. Fantix would be able to respond. It also means that he's too far away to use his ultimate for the top side. And if Direwolves can actually utilize this to their advantage, if it amounts to nothing.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the Ghost pickup instead of the teleport in that instance?
I think the Ghost pickup's fine. And actually have saved him a couple of times. But realistically, because he's now on the opposite side of the map, it means that he doesn't want to use that ultimate to help what is going to be a split pusher against the Trundle. It means that he wants to use his ult to help the immediately closer lane, which is the 3-man roster. Actually kill them and get objectives as a 4-man group.
Well, you can see that tower is going to fall down. The outer not going to get contested. Yeah, they're looking for it as the Ghost has been popped. Parallel convergence here as well as Fantix flashes out of the way. Wildcards is all that's going to happen, but they get the Summoner spell, and that's a big deal on the Swain.
Yeah, it was a good flash to keep him alive. Doesn't really mean a whole lot though, because it's just a big cooldown wasted for a Ghost on the side of Bomb, and he'll still have his flash, and that's the most important of the two. Regret.
Yeah. That's the magical journey we're looking for.
The big old journey this time.
Oh, yeah. Well and truly magical.
That last one was not a journey.
No, that was a magical mistake. Not a good one either. There's 4,000 gold, now the lead for the Hellions here at 17 odd minutes into the game. Feeling very, very good right now. Files still continuing on their game plan. Chippies having the majority of that split push build complete. Merc trades there as well, doesn't want to get gold carded for too long. See, stop sprays back.
Starting to get to items as well, Hellions. Once they bridge these big items into their builds, they'll be a lot stronger. And already proactivity has been seen from them as a team. It's become a little bit easier to do so as well. Like that Lich Bane on the Twisted Fate. Bit of extra move speed. as an example.
Yeah, all the good things. CBLOL is down here towards the bottom side. Fantix not wanting to approach that minion wave just yet.
Chippies as well mid. They've got a minion control kind of stack now pushing into the top side. So Direwolves can kind of work around that as a point of maneuverability. Hellions will have to respond to it sooner or later, probably from the Echo. But for now, we're actually observing top laners in their not so natural habitat.
Yeah.
Having it out in a mid lane biff.
Interesting one. Chippies though. Here's the one that's going to pick up all of that farm as it heads in. See CBLOL doing his best to try and claw back some of that CS score. He has fallen behind in, Impaired utilizing the extra clear speed of that new Cinderhulk to great effect.
Also a very early level 2 cheese that backfired and caused slight edges to be gained.
Yeah.
By that Rek'Sai as well as successful games opposed to not so successful as mid lane.
Yeah, there's the Destiny. Ray's actually going to get flashed on here. Flash is out of the way, but there's the ace in the hole. He has to be so careful. Heal comes down, but there's the gold card. Bomb with a great timing on that one. Picks up the kill with the wild cards, and this could be actually even more. The tower is going to get protected for the moment. And they trade the tower for the outer towards the bottom side, but now some decisions being made slowly.
They can just go top lane with it as well, and it should be 2 turrets in favor of Hellions potentially to the 1. The side of Direwolves. Ryu recalling. Looks like he wants to answer instead of wasting his teleport so that he can get back to his team if it comes to a fight. They just teleports for some reason now.
Yeah, he's going to teleport to the inner turret and make sure that Chippies isn't going to be able to take that one down.
Now Chippies teleports in for a fight.
Well, we'll see whether they can actually find it here as Hellions. There's the never move onto Bomb. Frey actually getting himself in a decent position as Fantix. He's ignited. He's not dead. Still not dead. Double kill for Raze as he's gone completely ballistic. And the Swain's still alive. Impaired, running away for the hills. And you can see the Trundle chasing after Luna. CBLOL over the wall. There's the stun with the Scuttle Crab. End of the line comes down as well as the slows are continuing to come in. There's the flash forward, actually. Flash out of Impaired is going to get him to safety. And Dial's answer back. You could see the frustration. They're right on the Baron.
That was on the back of a fantastic shot-calling maneuver out of them, recognizing that Ryu teleported. They get a big team fight. Fantix barely surviving. Impaired's up. Ryu's here.
Yeah, there's the parallel convergence. It is going to be Regret falling down as Impaired. He's going low. Fantix right in the back of the pit still has some mana to work with as there's the Ravenous Flock finally being popped. It is going to be the Baron taken down as Swain picks up the kill on the jungler. Ryu wants to take him out, is going to be able to do so as CBLOL now fighting in this Thunderdome that we can see. And the double kill comes in for Ryu. Only CBLOL alive with that Baron buff, and he is able to slink away with it, but everyone's closing in. And he's going to dash away, but there's the gold card. Wild cards comes down, and Luna is going to be able to secure the kill.
So there's no Baron remaining on the side of Direwolves. They get a good team fight. They get the Baron with it, but Disaster actually at the pit. As they overstayed their welcome, they should not have actually committed to that Baron. Not at all.
Well, Regret over here does have the Tempered Fate available. We'll see whether he uses it to try and save this turret. Decides he wants to hold on to it for now. 1 second on Fantix, 2 on Raze as they're now up. This inhibitor is in a whole host of trouble as Ryu. There's the Tempered Fate. It's on Bomb and Luna. They're trying to turn this fight around. Never Move comes in. Bomb in trouble. Ryu very, very low. Chippies just chomps him down. Beautiful play here from the top laner as now Hellions on the run. They've got what they wanted to, though, to be perfectly honest. That inhibitor in the mid lane, well and truly broken.
Yeah, they broke the base. The question is what can Direwolves now get in response? They know Hellions have to recall. They should be able to get at least 1 turret in this middle lane. They're definitely still biting back here on the side of the Direwolves. Intense little fight there. Little section of play. Yeah. Still Hellions come out ahead.
Still hard to count Direwolves out for now. We saw that last team fight looking very good for them. However, Hellions look like a reinvigorated squad. Direwolves going for Cloud Drake number 2. So they're going to smack this one down. CBLOL in there. End of the lines it into the face. Decides he doesn't even want to waste the smite on it. Grabs himself some Coco. This Fantix is going to just do a drive-by. The red buff is going to be taken, and Ray is going to pick up some farm here towards the bottom side. So Ezreal's pretty big at the moment. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, damn right. 2 chemicals. What does it mean?
Double chemical.
Ah, sorry. I'm not a very good meme guy. Raze clearing things up, and we'll be able to do so just fine. So 215 to 185 now, gets himself 30 CS ahead. after that huge wave. But Infinity Edge is completed here for Frey. The Caitlyn getting to a good point in the game, but probably wants 3 items more than the 2 that he already has.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing that the Direwolves can do, it's farm. And we're looking at that right now in comparison to the Hellions. Whilst there is a sizable lead still in their favor, things considered, you'd actually call this game close enough to even. Like, the Zonia's Hourglass probably the big missing feature from the Swain.
Yeah.
From this point onwards, until he has that, he has a risk of dying. Luna actually has an Ignite this game as well. Needs to be noted, given that he didn't have it. Game number 1 against the Vlad.
Really good point. Cute little shield for the cannon creep there as Direwolves want to save this turret. The Tempered Fate is going to slow them down for a little bit as Chippies throws down the pillar. Ped has to tunnel his way out. Bomb going to make his way over, cycling through some cards. But yeah, you're exactly right, Frey. A few more auto attacks will do it.
The turret.
Oh, they decide not to. Peacemaker, that ain't going to do it.
Bomb like proper came in with the Lichbane, was ready to kill the turret and just didn't. He psyched out.
Yeah, that's his move. I'm going to not kill it.
I mean, it was always going to die.
That wave is going to be enough. As Frey just continues to kill creeps, as he is wont to do. Fantix puts a Raven down.
This is a good opportunity for Hellions to work around their team strength when it comes to split pushing. Remember, Caitlyn can set up those traps, and as a 3-man, they're going to be very difficult to slow down. Echo can 1v1. Twisted Fate can take on pretty much anybody as well. See creative license to do as they please. Now puts him in the top lane to get the turret.
Yeah, it's actually only 2 versus 1 here, so Dial's in trouble. As Chippies is just trying to clear out the minion wave where he can. It looks like the focus is on the turret towards the top side of the map. It's just Fantix. They're looking for some sort of catch around the bottom side, but not going to really happen as Regret doesn't quite get in there.
Good wave clear from Fantix with timing as well. The second Hellions disappeared. He cheekily gets the entire thing. Stops him from pushing for another 30 seconds.
And this turret actually very, very healthy here at the same time. As you can see, both of the AD carry type champions are going to be clearing out those super creeps there in the mid lane as pings go down onto exactly where Bomb is. Fantix takes a lot of damage, but probably doesn't care too much because he's a Swain.
Nice stuff.
Yeah, really nice Cosmic Binding as the Never Move comes in as well. Frey taking so much damage and will be taken down. Destiny's in there, but Bomb maybe a little bit too late on the trigger. And this could have broken it for the Direwolves.
That's the strength of the Swain and the Bard together. Hit one combo. Graves has the burst. Swain even has that burst as well. They get themselves a nice pick and a deterrent, honestly.
Yeah. It's good news so far. Raze has picked up a Blade of the Ruined King there as well, so he's feeling a whole host better. And the waves are getting shoved back out. Inhibitor is going to be respawning relatively soon too, and so some normalcy will return to the Rift for the Direwolves.
Absolutely. That's what they needed as well. Some respite to that pressure. Gives them time for the Inhibitor to respawn also, with that enough time until Baron as well to get some vision out. Lots of positives to what just happened for them. More than just a single kill, naturally. And Frey being a priority member of the side of Hellions should not be ever dying like that.
No,
even
not
had
that far
summoners up.
A little bit dangerous. Does have himself the Executioner's Calling now, though, moving towards that Mortal Reminder, an important item for the Caitlyn in dealing with this Swain, as Fantix is going to eat some traps.
One of the riskier things that we're currently seeing executed by Sybil, he's lucky that he has pink ward vision, is that he's by himself in that pink ward vision trying to secure more control. Twisted Fate on the map always puts him at a risk of dying. Doesn't matter if the ultimate's there or not, he moves too quickly. Threat wasn't with him. But luckily enough, Hellions were pushing the top lane as a jungle and support duo instead of warding.
Fantix now going to be heading back to base. We'll see whether he can complete that Zhonya's Hourglass that he's been so looking for. Looks like it is going to be done, so big items here. The first 3 for Fantix being completed.
On another Cloud. So you would imagine that it's not too big of a deal for the Direwolves. Naturally, 3 of them will be handy. Yourself the Blue Deadman's plate appeal.
Yep, love it, love it.
It's not the game-changing factor of it. And the Baron being up in 8 seconds is where they should be putting a lot of their focus. Take the Dragon as a consolation.
You can see Vision just getting cleared at the moment from Dials as Hellions are putting it down, continuing to find more. As the pressure once again actually going to be mounting here around the Rift. Never Move helping Fantix clear things up. And as the Laser Bird going to be doing the same thing. God, I love that ability.
Laser bird. It's good. Good one. It's even a good way to describe it. It's just a laser bird. Beatrice? The laser bird.
Yeah. 10 out of 10, remembering her name. Frey. Gonna be wandering around here. Raze. Oh, gets a flash out of Luna there. Does Regret. The Tempered Fate has to be avoided. This is what the Dials need to do. Get Hellions into a position where they can have a man down because this split push is working out well for them. Tunnel going to be used as there's the parallel convergence. Ryu not going to find the stun on anyone in this turret. Still very, very high health.
Big push, but aggressive push. Kind of gives Direwolves the opportunity to fight them, honestly, in response. This is the dragon side of the map from Hellions as well, so an aggressive position just gained by them. Not where they were placing vision, however. Now they run the risk of being team fought on the Tempered Fate cooldown. Close to halfway. Their engage is going to be lacking on the side of Direwolves until that's back up. Banking on Fantix.
Yeah, Pet actually relatively low at the moment. Yeah, Sybil going to make his way over there looking for this dragon as Hellions moving all the way back. That's third dragon picked up there for the Cloud as Bomb. Yeah, not going to get out of this one. Raze picks up the kill. Sybil right over the top. Raze in there at the same time. They get the slow, but Hellions still on the run. They are going to be able to make their way out for now, but that is a huge pickup for the Direwolves, and Baron's live.
Yeah, good first kill. Good dragon, because that's 3 of them now.
And they have the cool animation.
They do. They also should just be walking straight over towards the Baron pit if they want to fight for it, knowing they have the numbers advantage. Bomb will have his ult, so if they didn't get it quick enough, it wouldn't have amounted to anything. And realistically, they decide they don't want to go for it. They slow down. Based off the last time that we saw them aggressively look at a Baron. Perhaps they've learnt their lesson and realize that it's just not worth it.
Yep.
Take it when it's free.
Yeah, and they have the confidence now in these team fights. They've brought that gold back to about 2,500, and here at half an hour into the game means less and less, especially with all the standing gold on the map. I mean, there are still so many turrets yet to take here for the Direwolves as it's 3-7.
That, and we also look at where the money stands.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite happy with on the side of Direwolves. Raze is huge in comparison to Frey, who is doing his part. Definitely starting to scale, but is stuck at a 2-item mark. And I'm actually going to address that. His item build is too many mid-game items, or too many middle point items. Not enough finished items.
Well, there's the flash out of Bomb. Regret finds it as he looks for the Cosmic Binding.
Good flash.
Yeah. Yeah, Frey's sort of desperately looking for the Last Whisper upgrade into the Mortal Reminder for item number 3.
Well, it looks like he needs to get the Mercurials, almost.
Hey, that's a good point.
I'm not sure, because he has a Vamp Scepter randomly thrown in there. So if it's the Mercurials, then he needs to have the QSS upgrade, and that's a big money sink. But if he goes for the Last Whisper upgrade, which would make more sense, he then just has this Vamp Scepter that felt like he needed, when realistically he could have finished his item and just positioned better.
Well, they're actually looking for a gank onto Fantix here as well as the Destiny comes in. He's well ahead of his team, though, as Bomb.
He was trying to bait a flash, I think.
Oh, Fantix as well, just runs so fast. That's an extra flat 45 movement speed.
Yeah, there's a lot of move speed currently on the side of the Direwolves. Everyone basically has Mobies. Yep. And if you have Mobies, you have lots of Mobies.
Dead Man's Cloud. Frey actually doing a lot of damage to Sybil here. He just wanders around saying, stop hitting me. It's Regret looking for something. Chippy's going to find his way in there as well. They don't get the Cosmic Binding as Regret doesn't get that one, but Luna taking a lot there as the teleport. Coming in for Fantix. There's the flanking players. Tempered Fate going to get everyone locked down, impaired. Nice double knock-up as Chippy's right in the back line as Fantix. He's taking care of Ryu for the moment. Hellions have found their way underneath the turret as Raze caught, but my God, that burst damage onto the Caitlyn just eliminates her, and Direwolves deal with a lot of the DPS.
The only mistake was that Raze didn't hit his ultimate. The end result is still a kill onto Frey, one of the primary targets from the Hellions. They might have enough sustain to consider doing this Baron straight off spawn. But we saw what happened to them last time they tried this, and it backfired massively.
Yeah, Regret looking for the flanking play here as Ryu's going to throw some Time Winders in. Regret magically journeys his way back to his team, but impaired. May be able to find him. It's a nice stun to come in as Regret heals himself up. Ryu may have been baited into that one as the Chrono Break comes down. Fantix with the Zhonya's Hourglass gets a whole bunch of his health back, but his mana bar getting low. Bomb has to use his Zhonya's. The Cosmic Binding goes wide, but Chippy's just being all the front line that the Direwolves need. And the Subjugate comes up at exactly the right time. True Shot Barrage just snipes off the Rek'Sai, and Direwolves are going to make their way back to the Baron.
No way.
This late game fighting for this squad is looking fantastic.
They're almost too low to consider doing this again. Fantix is going to be full health and so is Chippies, but man, that's risky. They're lucky that everyone recalled. They should be able to still get this one for free. Flirting with danger when it comes to this Baron buff. I don't think Frey can actually do it.
Oh, you can see Regret trying to get his way out there as Ray's just going for the 1v1. Looks like he's got it too, as Frey had to actually use the flash in order to get himself to safety, and Baron falls down. Empowered Recall is going to come out for the Direwolves, and it's decisive plays, really making things work for this team. As Ryu tries his very best.
He wanted all of them, and they just recalled in the stiff-ended formation. But yes, the Baron secured very convincing, aggressive movements out of the Direwolves roster. Puts themselves now ahead in gold. It was, I think, the first time in this entire game. Hellions definitely struggling to get the mid-game going. Even though the early game had improved.
And after what you said before about me always commenting about cool words that you use, I really wanted to talk about stiff-ended, but I'll just hold back. There's now Fantix pushing out the mid lane.
Very well.
Yeah, thanks, man. You need to do it. Get any way you can. There's Raze. Inner turret now under fire. Parallel convergence coming in here, but Ryu not going to quite find the stun, and Raze just stands right amongst it. Picks it up.
Yeah, he actually just
does
too much damage. This Ezreal is so fed at the moment. No one can actually deal with him, especially when he gets his next item. You're assuming the Mercurials himself.
Oh, I want a Bloodthirster.
Could be,
so
but
bad.
he maybe wants to get out of a Twisted Fate stun.
Yeah, no, it probably would be a better idea.
Mikhail's also picked up by Bard, which diffuses a lot of that pick that they would definitely have on the side of Hellions.
Yeah, good point.
Helps now a lot.
Direwolves now transition to the inner turret on the bottom side of the map. Ryu actually heading back to base now as well, preparing for what could be a team fight underneath this inhibitor turret. And Direwolves, I swear, the 3 Cloud Drakes working out really well for this team. Oh my god,
wow,
Raze!
dude.
Careful, buddy.
Jesus.
That's a tower you're tanking. He's going to fall down there as the shutdown comes in for Impaired. We'll see whether they are actually going to
what on earth?
Dive too far in. And yeah, Frey, he made it back to his fountain, so of course wasn't available to try and get any more picks. And Raze, I don't think he can do that too much more, because that's really stopped the pressure from the Direwolves.
I don't think he's ever meant to be able to do that. Bomb's actually used the ultimate.
Yeah, looking for the Destiny. Is actually going to find the flanking play here as Sybil finds his way into the brush. Fantix looking for a never move. Slows down Impaired, who's taking serious damage here. Magical Journey. Going to get at least one of them to safety there, but Regret, he's going to fall down. Ryu looking for the chase here as Fantix. 1 versus 3, and I actually don't like the chances of the Hellions against this massive Birdman.
They need 5, and they are. He is stuck between all 5 members of the Hellions.
Yeah, Chippies is actually just taking down turrets in the mid lane there in the meantime, and Fantix is going to fall down. Hellions now have to get back to their base as Chippies is tearing it apart. And that could be the saving grace here for the Direwolves. Chippies saying, well, at least someone's still thinking about winning this game. He's going to get himself back to base now.
Yeah, and that's all on the back of Raze biting off far more than he can chew. This is going to be a denial Elder Dragon potentially taken. Sybil's nearby. I don't know if he can hit that Miracle Smite. Let's see how he goes, though.
Yeah, actually
teleports in.
Yeah, Chippies looking to try and make something happen here as Parallel Convergence goes down. Sybil wants to quick draw in there. He gets over the top. We'll see whether he can get it. He does! And the Elder Drake is now owned by the Direwolves. Raze over the side here as well as Ryu bounces over the top, but there's the Guardian Angel. Knockup comes in as Bomb. The Wildcards, but the shields are available. And Chippies picks up a kill. Massive damage. I don't know how Raze lasted for so long. And the Dials, with that buff, give a triple kill to the Trundle.
And that's looking like it should be enough time for them to work towards the base of the Direwolves.
Sybil.
Bomb's just done.
There it is.
That's probably going to be game over.
That is the celebratory ultimate out of this Graves. Fantix already getting the work done in the mid lane as the Direwolves are looking for that 2-0 victory in what looked like a Hellions match to win.
Yeah, they started on the right foot here, Hellions, but it's definitely not enough. Convincing 2-0 in the end for the super speedy team. It was Direwolves.
Yeah, those 3 Cloud Drakes really doing the work. And the early game was so much better. Hellions seemed to have the right idea, and then it all fell apart. Was there sort of one moment that we detected, Rusty, where like things went wrong?
Raze just got too fed. I feel like there's a lot of potential carries on the side of the Direwolves, and the Swain was honestly this big factor that still shouldn't be on Summoner's Rift, much like the Vladimir. But all things considered, They had a very strong team fight on the top side of the map, overzealous attempts from Hellions, getting more than they can actually afford to look for,
Yeah.
and just getting caught out time and again was that Caitlyn. Probably should not have constantly been in that position.
Yeah, it was just a little bit unfortunate. And Raze, of course, able to pick him out with Q's left, right, and center. Was ridiculous play out of the Direwolves towards the later stages of the game, but sort of some breaths of hope for the Hellions in the early game. But we're going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down the series victory for the Direwolves.
Thank you so much. And with that, Direwolves do get the 2-0 victory. However, Hellions put up much more of a fight this time around. And I do want to give equal amounts of credit because they don't go into a lane swap. They do standard lane. So Frostgurren, hats off. But they do try and beat them around the map a little bit, Tally, with an interesting TF pick up in the mid lane and just try and, you were saying that they need to pull the Direwolves around the map and they're able to do that.
Yeah, they played the game correctly, like their win conditions and everything, but then suddenly this all fell apart for no reason.
So what were they doing correctly? Let's go back to the start. So what is it about the Twisted Fate comp and what the Hellions were trying to execute on?
Well, Direwolves picked strong laners that need to push. The Trundle into Echo needs to just play up on him. He can't play passive, and because of that, TF was able to bully that. They got a couple kills around the map, and they were able to get